Hello and welcome. I'm Melissa from MysticHartHealing, and today we are going to talk about Blodeuwedd. First, let me preface this by saying I am not Welsh. I do not speak Welsh. I'm doing the best I can with these names and these words, and I mean I have no intention to offend anybody. So let's talk about the flower goddess. Her story starts kind of like the ancient Welsh version of the movie Weird Science. You know, that 1980s movie where a bunch of teenage boys put some stuff together, use a little magic, a little technology, I think a thunderstorm, and end up creating their ideal woman. Well, thousands of years ago, the Mabinogi tells of two Welsh wizards doing the same thing. A little background on this tale. Llew was a powerful god and a king who had an overprotective mother. Ariana Hood was a boy mom and wanted to protect her son from a wife that would only marry him for his power. She did what any mother would do to protect her son. She placed a curse on him. Llew's curse was that he would never have a wife from any of the races of the earth. Llew's cousins, however, were powerful wizards and had other ideas. Moth and Gwydion, Moth by the way is M-A-T-H, decided to remedy this curse. They met one night in the woods and created a woman for Llew. And they made sure that this woman was not of any of the races of the earth. She was made from the blossoms of flowers. And they chose 9 blossoms to combine to create her. And she was considered the most beautiful woman in the world. Moth and Gwydion carefully chose the flowers to help create Llew's wife. The bride was created from oak flowers, meadowsweet, broom, burdock. In some versions, they call it cockledock. Bean blossoms, nettle, chestnut flowers, primrose, and hawthorn blossoms. These are common flowers in Wales, but they are also symbols of strength, healing, protection, and fertility. Attributes fit for a queen and a goddess. She was also the fairest and most beautiful woman that Llew had ever seen. This woman was presented to Llew, and he fell in love with her instantly. They were married and began their life together. The bride was a dutiful and loving wife, only concerned with the comfort of Llew. Beautiful and caring, the perfect queen, until Llew had to go away on business trips and kingly business again and again and again. He spent a lot of time away from his beautiful bride. The bride kissed her king goodbye and stayed behind to maintain the castle. She did a very good job of keeping the castle going in Llew's absence, but days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months. And the bride began to feel lonely and wish she had somebody to talk to. One day, there was a break in the monotony of the castle without Llew. A hunting party had come through the area searching for a stag, a big deer. The bride offered the hunting party hospitality while they were hunting in the area, and they accepted. It was considered if you were royalty and were in an area with another royal, they would offer you a place to stay. Well, almost at first sight, the bride fell in love with the leader of the hunting party, Gron Pebber, Lord of Penlyn. What starts with a little flirtation turns into an affair. Once the affair was in full swing, the bride convinces Gron that they need to kill her husband the king so they can be together. Killing the king was not an easy task. Seeing that, there's treason involved and that the king was an immortal and the son of a goddess. When Lugh returned, the bride began to discover what weapon could kill her husband. She flirted, she teased. Eventually, she's like, "So, honey, I was thinking of some new arms, and I don't want to get any weapons in the castle that could harm you. So what ones would harm you?" It turns out that a spear made in a very specific way was the weapon of choice. So she sets Gron to the task of forging this weapon. Once the spear was forged, the bride convinces her husband to stand in a certain way that would be needed for the spear to be effective. So, this spear you talk about, honey, exactly where would we have to get you and what would we have to do? The bride and her lover stab Lugh with the spear, but instead of dying, he transforms into a mighty eagle and flies away. Uh-oh. The lovers begin their happy life together, but others are worried about Lugh and begin searching for him. It was Gwydion who found his cousin in an oak tree, still in eagle form. This mythic oak tree had a sow at the base that was eating the rotting flesh that fell off the eagle from above. Lugh was dying just very slowly. Seeing his cousin suffering and dying, Gwydion sets about healing Lugh with a magical set of poems. There were 3 of them. Once healed, Lugh transformed back into a human, and at that point, Gwydion learns of his creation's part in the betrayal and attempted assassination of his friend. These 2 men go back and set about punishing the lovers for their crimes. The bride initially escapes, but is later captured by Gwydion who transforms her into an owl. This owl was given the name Blodeuwedd, or Flower Face, and cursed to be shunned by all other birds to the point that the only time she can show her face anymore is at night. Her lonely hoots can be heard as she mourns the human body she wishes she could transform back into. For his part in the assassination attempt, Graun was executed. Blodeuwedd was probably a myth to warn women to stay faithful to their men that they were married to. Her marriage was, in a sense, an arranged marriage, and not for love at all. During the time when royal marriages were often nothing more than alliances and land deals for political advancement, being content with the spouse you had was encouraged. The tale of Blodeuwedd stood to remind brides not to seek love or passion outside their marriage, because it could destroy the lives and lead to ruin. It served to protect the patriarchy of the time. Modern witches honor her not only as the goddess of flowers and spring, but also as a symbol of a woman who made her own choice and was willing to pay the consequences. It's about bodily autonomy to modern witches and feminism, and stepping out of being a mere object just for a man. Yes, her story is sad, but through the modern lens, she is a symbol of courage and strength and making your own destiny. There are doctoral dissertations about this story of Blodeuwedd. There are countless articles discussing how she is such a feminist icon in modern times, and how she went from being an object of the male gaze to becoming her own person and an object for the female gaze. So take this story that as a good example of how stories and mythologies are reinterpreted as time goes on. But if you wish to honor Blodeuwedd, wear owls, her symbol. Leave her flowers. Plant flowers. Plant honey. Do something nice for the bees, because the bees bring about flowers. She is the goddess of spring and of growth. I hope you enjoyed this story. Check out our website for more stories like this. And as always, love you. Take care until we get to chat again.